back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tylah and I was an American living in Paris. I'm back home in the States now, but I'm still here to give lots of advice and videos about my time of traveling abroad and being an au pair in Paris. So in today's video, I am going to talk all about some French stereotypes. Actually, that's not what I'm going to talk about at all. I'm here to talk about French culture shocks. Today I'm going to be here talking about some culture shocks I experienced while living in France. So if that sounds good to you, make sure to keep on watching. Also, in the last video I said thank you for 500 subscribers and now I'm close to 800. So I wanted to say thank you so much for everybody who's taken the time to watch, like, subscribe, or comment on a video of mine. It means the world to me, and I hope that in the next video we can be at 1,000 subscribers, and that would be really awesome. So if you are new on this journey with me, please feel free to subscribe and I hope to see you along. Okay, with that being said, let's just get right into the video, into the juicy stuff, you know? So the first culture shock that there is, that my friend Tiana mentioned in her video, but I do think is important to touch on in case you are moving to France or you're visiting France, or maybe you have visited France and you didn't do this and you're like, why were French people so mean to me? Maybe it's because you didn't say bonjour when you entered a store or approached somebody. This is such a huge thing in France. If you need to talk to somebody, if you need directions and you're saying like, oh, excuse me, miss, and then you start talking to them, they didn't invite you to talk to them. Like, you have to say hello first. You say bonjour, they say bonjour, and then you can have your conversation. This is like a huge thing every time that somebody says, oh, I went to Paris but I didn't have a good experience, like the shopkeepers were really rude, and I'm like, well, when you entered their store, did you say hello? And they're like, no, because that's just not something that we're normally doing here in the States, but it's a really big thing in France. So if you're going to France, make sure you don't forget the bonjour. So probably one of the biggest things that affected me when I moved to France culture shock wise was meals. Not only are they starting later in France, but they also go longer. So you'll have like aperitif, and that's just like your first, like your hors d'oeuvres and like your appetizers and wine and social hour, because it's just a time to talk and unwind. And then you'll have your entree, which would normally be like a meat and some vegetables, and then you'll have cheese course, and then you'll have dessert, which is normally for me would be like yogurt and fruit, or like some type of variation of fruit. And then after your fruit, you would have like coffee in the afternoon or tea at night. So it's a really long process, and it's not something that I was ever used to growing up in the States. We don't really do dinners like as much of like a huge affair as it is in France. It's normally just like eating dinner by the TV, or like we'll eat in our rooms. Like, it's a very different type of setup that I wasn't used to moving to France. And then also breakfasts are so small. I'm normally used to like pancakes, bacon, eggs, like so many different things. And in France it's like Nutella toast, cereal, and I'm normally eating so much in the morning, so I'm always hungry by 9-10 a.m. So I'll have my little toast with Nutella in the morning at 7, and then by 10 I normally stop at the boulangerie and get like a pain au chocolat or something from the boulangerie. So picture this: you're in the suburbs of Paris, you just dropped your host kid to school, and now you're on your way to French class. It's 9 a.m. You're hungry because all you ate was a piece of toast in the morning. I have to stop at the boulangerie to get a little croissant, you know, something light. I actually order a tartelette framboise, which is just a raspberry tart. The lady says, no, tartelette framboise. And I say it wrong. I know I do, because she corrects me every time. It's just a courtesy for French people to correct your French when you're speaking with them. And it may come off like, oh my God, like, it sounded so rude, like I didn't say it right, and they just came at me and said like, no, it's this. And I'm like, and then they make you repeat it. But it's such a courtesy, and it's honestly, I'm so grateful for it, because it's like, I was saying it wrong. What are they gonna do? Let me go on the rest of my days saying this one word wrong? No, I actually find it very nice. And the people that I've always interacted with were always really kind about it, and if I had a question, they would always answer it. But French people will correct your grammar. Eating on the street is not a thing in France. I eat where I want to eat. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. I need a snack like all the time. So I'm always eating on the go. And there was one occasion where I was eating a salad on my way to a museum to meet a friend, and this man comes up to me and goes, bon appetit. And I was like, thank you. And he was like, is it good? And I was like, this sounds amazing. And then I realized that he was making fun of me because people don't eat on the street. And then it happened to me again when I was eating on the street and someone was like, bon appetit. And I was like, so this is a thing. This is a thing that you guys do because you don't eat on the street. Got it. Another thing that shocked me about France was that doctor's offices and dentist offices are just offices, so they can be in somebody's apartment. I went to a dentist appointment once and I was so confused when I arrived at this man's apartment, and it's like half his apartment, half a dentist's office. I was sending my location to my friends like, if you don't hear from me in an hour, like send a church party my way. But it was a credible dentist office, and it just was not something that I would be used to going living in another country. So if you've seen Emily in Paris and have watched to the second episode, you would have seen the scene where Emily is jogging along the Seine and a man is peeing behind her and she gets all freaked out. People pee as they please in France. Learn that many different ways. You're sitting on a park bench and a man is also sitting on a park bench and he has to pee. So he gets up and just goes right behind you. That's a personal story. I've also witnessed a man whose toddler had to pee. So he holds the baby over the metro tracks and the baby is just peeing for everybody. It's just a normal thing. You just kind of get used to it. That's why when you go into the metro, they normally smell like pee. It's probably fresh. It's probably fresh. Grocery stores in France do not provide grocery bags, and there's also nobody to bag your groceries for you. I wish that all over the world we just knew, bring your grocery bag when you go to the grocery store. That's not something I was ever familiar with in America, because there's always a person there to bag your groceries. That's not how it works in Europe. You need to bring your reusable grocery bags. We should all do that. That's a crazy idea. Maybe save the environment if we have time on the side. Wink, wink. Now, one of the most simple things in the world is opening a door. We open doors all day long. How could it be so hard? I'll tell you how it could be hard. Forgetting to push the button on the side of the door to open it. Because most doors in France have a button that you have to press and then you can push the door open. And don't think about pulling the door. You push the door. That was just something that it never occurred to me that I would have to push a button to like signal to the door that I would like to leave. But yeah, that's just one thing that you gotta do there. Push the button, push the door. Another thing that came as a great surprise to me was that there's really no ice. Like, people don't put ice in their water. It's always just room temperature water. I quickly got used to that, but when I got home, I remembered the luxury of having ice cold water, and I was like, whoa. You never know what you're missing until it's gone. And then it comes back to you and you just have a whole nother appreciation for it. Ice cold water, baby. We live in large. I'm kidding, because I say that from a place of pain. I wish I was drinking room temperature water in Paris, of course. So this is a common theme all around Europe. I've heard that people get pickpocketed. You may know a friend or two who have gotten pickpocketed, or it may have happened to you. It is a very common thing. Personally, it never happened to me. I was so afraid of being pickpocketed that in my first month of living in France, I would carry around a Ziploc bag, basically, like a clear zipper bag full of my things, and I would put that inside my purse. That way, if anybody did try to pickpocket me, I would feel them like literally grabbing like all of my things at once. And I was always so paranoid, but it never happened to me, thankfully, because I had a great lesson from my 10-year-old host child who was walking next to me and puts his arm into my sweater and grabs my phone, and I didn't even notice. And he goes, Tylah, you have to be more careful. I could have pickpocketed you, and holds up my phone. And I was like, whoa. I didn't even notice. And he was like, yeah, you gotta be careful. And ever since then, I've always been careful. Like, if anybody brushes against me, you're pickpocketing me. Are you pickpocketing me? But it's a thing, just be careful, but like, don't live your life in fear like I did. And I always had everything like tucked away. But I think that if you come off as a tourist to people, then you're an easier target. So just try to blend in with your surroundings always. Okay guys, I think that's all of the French culture shocks that I can think of right now. If you have any that you've experienced or maybe have heard about and could possibly be a misconception about French culture and you want to get a discussion going, definitely leave those in a comment section down below. I would love to interact and chat with you guys, as I always do. It's one of my favorite parts about posting a video, is being able to interact with you guys in the comments. So definitely do that, and if you've watched this video all the way through, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Let me know any other video suggestions, tips and tricks that you guys may want to hear in a future video, and I'll be sure to get those up for you. So thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!